Hello students, welcome to another lesson of training for development. This lesson deals with various training techniques. The general purpose of training is to improve employee abilities and performance on the job. There are a large number of training techniques available that can be used by human resource department. Trainers need to understand the pros and cons of each technique and also impact on trainees, keeping their background and skills in mind before giving training. The bottom line for any training to be successful is the synergy between the trainer and the trainees. That is where the HRD can act as a facilitator for effective training and to ensure that the trainers and trainees bond together and benefit in a mutual process of understanding and learning. Training technique pertains to the type of training that can help to sharpen their existing skills and learn new skills. The skills that they learn can be technical or soft skills, and for all categories of skills, training techniques like problem solving, group discussion, perception exercises, transactional exercises, etc. are useful. Let us understand what is problem. Problems arise because reality is not always what we like it to be. We would like all the members of the cricket team to be high performers. They are not always so. We would all wish our country to be free of corruption, political drama, casteism, bureaucracy, etc. It is not so. We would like all our shops in India to sell pure foodstuffs. They don't. These are all problems that we face in everyday life. Let us discuss how to solve these problems. We can restore the balance and solve problems in two ways: by changing our perception of the problem. Second, by following a systematic step-by-step process to solve this problem. How to change perception? If we think of the problem as an acronym, then P in problem stands for predictors. That is, they help to mold our future. R, reminders. We are not self-sufficient. We need God and others to help us. O, opportunities. They pull us out and help us to think creatively. B, blessings. They open up doors we usually don't go through. L, lessons. Each new challenge will be our teacher. E, everywhere. No place or person is excluded from them. M, messages. They warn us about potential disaster. S, solvable. No problem is without a solution. Next, let us see how problems are solved systematically. It is done by involving two major steps. First, the diagnostic step. Second, the remedial step. Here in the picture you can see the flow of the steps. The diagnostic step involves moving from the system to the root cause. It is about understanding the stated problem manifested as a symptom and getting to the root or the real problem. The end of the diagnostic step is a clear understanding of the genesis of the problem. The next stage is the remedial step. This seeks to move from the root cause to the remedy or solution. This requires a specific action plan that can bring about a cure. Now, let us look into various problem solving techniques. The first is 6 thinking hats. 6 thinking hats is a game like technique. When done in a group, everybody wears the same hat at the same time. The first hat, white hat thinking. This covers facts, figures, information needs and gaps. I think we need some white thinking at this point, means let us drop the arguments and proposals and look at the database. Red hat thinking. This thinking covers intuition, feelings and emotions. The red hat allows the thinker to put forward an intuition without any need to justify it. Next is black hat thinking. This is the hat of judgment and caution. It is the most valuable hat. It is not in any case inferior or negative hat. The black hat must always be logical. Next is Yellow hat thinking. This is the logically positive thinking. Next, green hat thinking. This is the hat of creativity. The next hat, blue hat thinking. This is the overview or process control hat. In technical terms, the blue hat is concerned with metacognition. The next technique is fishbone diagram. The fishbone diagram is also known as cause and effect diagram or the root cause analysis or the Ishikawa diagram, named after its originator Kaoru Ishikawa, the Japanese quality pioneer. It is generally called the fishbone diagram because the diagram resembles that of a fishbone. In simple terms, fishbone is a brainstorming in a structured format. The technique uses graphical means to relate the causes of the problem to the problem itself. In other words, to determine cause and effect. The diagram focuses on the causes rather than the effect. Because there may be a number of causes for a particular problem, this technique helps us to identify the root cause of the problem in a structured and uncomplicated manner. This you can see in the picture. The next technique is Pareto analysis. Pareto analysis is a statistical technique in decision making that is used for the selection of a limited number of tasks that produce significant overall effect. It uses the Pareto principle, also known as 80/20 rule. The idea is doing 20% of the work, you can generate 80% of the benefit of doing the whole job. The next technique is nominal group technique. The nominal group technique is a decision making method for use among groups of many sizes who want to make their decision quickly as by a vote, but want everyone's opinion taken into account. First, every member of the group gives their view of the solution with a short explanation. Then, duplicate solutions are eliminated from the list of all the solutions and the members proceed to rank the solutions as first, second, third, fourth and so on. The numbers each solution receives are totaled and the solution with the most favored ranking is selected the final selection. The next technique is Delphi technique. The Delphi method is a systematic interactive forecasting method which relies on a panel of independent experts. The carefully selected experts answer questions in 2 or more rounds. After each round, a facilitator provides an anonymous summary of the experts' forecast from the previous round as well as the reasons they provided for their judgments. The next technique is synetics. It is an idea generating and problem solving technique originated in 1950s with the work of W.J.J. Gordon and George Prince. It consists of a leader, client and about 6 participants. The leader is responsible for running the session and for recording the ideas. The client, maybe the rural women or farmers, has the problem and the process is directed to produce acceptable solutions for the problem. In this process, the client's requirements have to be satisfied. The next technique is mind mapping. Mind mapping is a visual picture of a group of ideas, concepts or issues. The purpose of mind mapping are unblock our thinking, see an entire idea or several ideas on one sheet of paper, see how ideas relate to one another, look at things in a new different way, then look at an idea in depth. The next technique is brainstorming. Brainstorming is a process for generating creative ideas and solutions through intensive and freewheeling group discussion. Every participant is encouraged to think aloud and suggest as many ideas as possible, no matter how bizarre it may sound. Analysis, discussion or criticism of the aired ideas is allowed only when the brainstorming session is over and evaluation session begins. This is a technique used for finding solutions by means of stimulating ideas. A small group of people contribute any suggestion or idea that strikes them, no matter how fantastic or impossible it may sound. All suggestions are encouraged and criticism is not always at this stage, although contributors are later invited to explain their ideas. Subsequently, all the ideas submitted are sifted and assessed. The main uses of brainstorming are problem solving, consolidating previous learning. The advantages of it are uses participant experience and ideas and very active participation. However, the disadvantages are time consuming, high trainer skills required, some learners may not participate. Group discussion techniques. In this we will discuss the various group discussion techniques. The first is the group discussion, which itself is a technique. In this technique of training, 2 or more participants converse or engage in meaningful deliberations about a particular topic that is facilitated by a trainer or discussion leader. Group discussions are mainly useful when there is a need to share experiences or knowledge with the group members, create new ideas or actions, do a need assessment, understand complex ideas, and then make decisions about them. The success of discussion depends upon the trainer who tries to keep discussion moving along in right direction. A good leader gets everyone involved in the discussion and assists the group in establishing systematic approach to its task. The next technique, panel discussion. In panel discussion, a selected group of persons, usually 3 to 6 members, discuss the problem in a conversational manner where a chairperson introduces and guides the discussion. Panel discussion is an excellent method for discussing controversial subjects like opinion regarding avenues for empowerment of rural women or concerns regarding women's role in development program or importance of girls education, etc. The next technique is syndicate method. In this method, the trainees are divided into subgroups called as syndicates, and each syndicate has to work on various subjects. The syndicate discuss the issues related to the subject and prepare a paper. The issues may be integrated involving all the departments in an organization. The next technique is small group training. This training is used for imparting training to a small group of trainees to improve their skill. This is an important method for transfer of technology to rural women. The method facilitates in imparting skill to a small group of participants by motivating them to adopt new practices through skill training. The next technique is seminars. Seminars are like short term training programs arranged for a few days, that is 1 to 3 days. They are convened to have in-depth discussions in various subjects from various viewpoints. At the end of the session, the participants can come out with recommendations. Next technique, conferences. This method is suitable for executives and senior officials in dealing with a complex problem which require contribution from experienced and senior officials. The issues and subject matter experts of conference are informed well in advance to enable the participants to prepare papers and other material for the conference. The delegates present papers and their views. Next technique is symposium. In symposia, a particular subject is discussed widely and deeply from the viewpoint of several authors. The speakers are approximately of equal capability to avoid one speaker dominating the meeting. The next technique, workshop. A workshop is cooperative gathering of individuals who discuss, learn and apply practical skills under expert supervision. It may be held for a day or for consecutive number of days. Perception is an active process of creating meaning or impression by selecting, organizing and interpreting people, objects, events, situations and activities. Next, the situational factors influencing perception are relational satisfaction, degree of involvement with the other person, past experience, expectations, social roles, knowledge, self-concept. The cultural factors influencing perception are different people see things differently. For example, you can see the picture here where the image looks like a young or old lady. Another picture, a vase or two faces. Each has their opinion. Culture is a major factor on how people perceive things. The other cultural factor that influences perception has categories such as gender, subculture, economic class and age. Awareness of and ability to understand one's own actions is essential in training. Self-understanding is the key to the successful resolution of any emotional problem. When you understand other person, then you can relate to that person and know what is going on inside them. We need to relate new knowledge to what we already know and where appropriately. The effective technique to understand self and others is Johari window technique. Johari window technique is a communication model that is used to improve understanding between individuals. The word Johari is taken from the names of Joseph Luft and Harry Ingham, who developed the model in 1955. There are two key ideas behind this tool. First, you can build trust with others by disclosing information about yourself. Second, with the help of feedback from others, you can learn about yourself and come to terms with personal issues. By explaining the idea of the Johari window, we can help team members to understand the value of self-disclosure and also encourage them to give and accept constructive feedback. If done sensitively, this can help people build better, more trusting relationships with one another, solving issues and work more effectively as a team. The Johari window is shown as a 4-quadrant grid, which you can see in the diagram here. The 4 quadrants are open area, blind area, hidden area, unknown area. Open area. This quadrant represents the things that you know about yourself and the things that others know about you. This includes your behavior, knowledge, skills, attitudes and public history. Second quadrant, blind area. This quadrant represents things about that you are not aware of, but that are known to others. This can include simple information that you do not know, or it can involve deep issues. For example, feelings of inadequacy, incompetence, unworthiness or rejection. These are often difficult for individuals to face directly and yet can be seen by others. The third quadrant is hidden area. This quadrant represents things that you know about yourself, but others do not know. The fourth is unknown area. This last quadrant represents things that are unknown to you as well as unknown to others. The next technique is transactional analysis. Eric Berne, a psychotherapist, analyzed the behavior of people in different settings and came out with a theory called transactional analysis. Transactional analysis helps in understanding your personality and the personality of others. Besides therapeutic use, transactional analysis is a powerful tool to improve interpersonal relations. According to transactional analysis, all of us have 3 ego states in our personality. These are parent ego state, adult ego state, child ego state. These 3 ego states function like three distinct persons within each one of us. These three words, namely parent, child, adult, have different meanings in psychological language than their dictionary meaning. These ego states have nothing to do with the age of a person. For example, a child, when in his parent ego state, will behave like a grown up person, admonishing, encouraging, etc. Similarly, a grown up person can sometimes behave like a child. In that case, he is said to be in his child ego state. To distinguish these words from their normal dictionary meaning, these are written with their first letter in capital. That means P, C and A will be capital letters for parent, child and adult respectively. The term capacity has many different meanings and interpretations depending on who uses it and in what context. To begin with, capacity building as a concept is closely related to education, training and human resource development. This conventional concept has changed over recent years towards a broader view and more holistic view, covering both institutional and country based initiatives. Capacity building is the process by which individuals, organizations, institutions and societies develop abilities to perform functions, solve problems and set and achieve objectives. A fundamental goal of capacity building is to enhance the ability to evaluate and address the crucial questions related to policy choices and modes of implementation among development options based on understanding of environment potentials and limits of needs perceived by the people of the country concerned. Capacity building is much more than training, and it includes human resource development, the process of equipping individuals with the understanding, skills and access to information, knowledge and training that enables them to perform effectively. Organizational development, the elaboration of management structures, process and procedures not only within organizations, but also the management of relationships between the different organizations and sectors such as public, private and community. Next, institutional and legal framework development, making legal and regulatory changes to enable organizations, institutions and agencies at all levels and in all sectors to enhance their capacities. Next is changing of attitudes. Attitude is a mental stage of readiness organized through experience exerting a dynamic influence upon the individual's response to all situations and objects with which he is related. Attitude is a learned predisposition towards aspects of environment. The different ways of changing attitudes in a person are filling in the information of gaps, that is, insufficient information often leads to unfavorable attitudes. Next, use of fear. It is believed that attitudes can be changed by the use of fear in a person. However, one has to be careful in administering this technique because high degree of fear may cause stubbornness in a person. Experts are of the opinion that a moderate level of fear makes the people change their attitudes. Resolving discrepancies. Behavior and attitude are interrelated, and if there is any discrepancy between attitude and behavior, then it has to be solved. This is one way of changing attitudes of a person. Next, impact of peers. One of the factors in formation of attitude of a person is peers. Peers with high credentials can cause change in the attitude of a person. At the same time, peers with low credibility cannot influence. The next is co-opting approach. It is a process of involving dissatisfied people to improve things. People are taught to cooperate with each other. Next is attitude in a workplace. First, self-dignity. Pride prevents you from doing just enough to get by. If you know everything you do at work has your name and signature on it, then you will give it your best shot and nothing less. The next is passion. Simple interest in any work or career you choose isn't enough to bring you through the tough time. A burning desire and intense enthusiasm will pull you through the tough time. The next is belief. In order to have a passion, it is important to believe. Only a deep belief will create the vigor and force that gives you the fuel to change. Know that you can achieve all that you set out to do for yourself. You only need to start believing in yourself. The next is value development. Values are traits or qualities that are considered worthwhile. They represent an individual's highest priorities and deeply held driving forces. Effective organizations identify and develop a clear, concise and shared meaning of values or beliefs, priorities and direction so that everyone understands and can contribute to it. Once defined, values impact every aspect of organization. People demonstrate and model the values in action in their personal work behaviors, decision making, contribution and interpersonal interaction. Organizational values help each person establish priorities in their daily work life. Values guide every decision that is made once the organization has cooperatively created the values. Rewards and recognition within the organization are structured to recognize those people whose work embodies the values the organization embraced. Organization goals are grounded in the identified values. People hire and promote individuals whose outlook and actions are congruent with the values. Only the active participation of all members of the organization will ensure a truly organization-wide value-based shared culture. Hence, the training techniques such as case study, role play, simulation and training in soft skills will enhance the capacities of the trainees and also in changing the attitudes and to develop values in the organization. These are few of the techniques that we are discussing today. Any questions?
Ma'am, I have a question. Why capacity building is needed?
Capacity building is needed to enhance the ability to evaluate and address the crucial questions related to policy choices and modes of implementation among development options. This is based on an understanding of environment potentials, limits and of needs perceived by the people of the country concerned. Any more questions? Hence, these are all the various techniques that we have discussed for training in training for development. Thank you.